Welcome to Lesson 10.3, Finding the Slope of a Line. Today we're going to talk about how to find the slope of a line and how to use the slope of a line to solve problems. Alright, so first we need to know what is the slope. The slope is the ratio that describes the steepness of a line. So when we talk about the slope of a hill or the slope of an inclined plane or a ramp, we're talking about the comparison of the rise to the run. So now we need to know what the rise and the run are. The rise is the vertical change in a line. So if this is my line, this is the rise, the difference from the bottom to the top. So your run is the horizontal difference or change in the line. So it's the difference from here to here. So in your notes, if you want to do this in different colors, that would be helpful. Otherwise, you need to draw a line saying that this is the run, this is the rise, and this can just be your example for the slope. All right, so when we find slope, we have a negative slope and we have a positive slope. It's just like when you're working with fractions or any other ratios. If you have one negative number, your answer has to be negative because a negative and a positive gives you a negative. So in this case, we start where we have a nice intersection. Okay, right here, this doesn't work because it's not intersecting any of the X or Y lines. And here, we don't want to use this because we don't exactly know. We could guess that this is 1/2, but we're not sure. So here we know that this is the point 1, 2. So we start here and we go up until we find another nice point of intersection. So we know we end up going up 1, 2 lines. So we have a rise of up 2. And we have a run of to the right 1. So up and right are both positives. So our slope is 2/1, which we know simplifies to 2. So this is a positive slope. In this case, when we start here, we know that we have to go down 1 line in order to get our next intersection, and then to the right 2 lines to get to our next intersection. So our rise is down 1, which ends up being a -1, and right 2, which stays as a +2. So a negative divided by a positive is going to give us a negative slope. So the slope of this line is -1/2. All right, so for some examples for you. In this case, we start here, and if we do a rise of 2 and a run of 1, that gives us 2/1. Both positive numbers tells us that we have a positive slope of 2. Now in this case, I know it's a little confusing because you're thinking, how do I decide if I go up or down? Well, I'm going to show you here how they both end up giving you the same answer. So in this case, if I start here and I go up 2 for my rise, so I have a +2, and then to the left 1, 2, because it's left, I have a -2. So the negative and the positive are going to give me a negative slope. 2/2 gives me 1, so this is a slope of -1. Now, if I had gone the other way, I would have had to have gone down 2, so I'm going to use this right here. Okay, so down 1, 2, and then to the right 2. So in this case, I would have had -2 over +2, which still would have given me a -1 for slope. That's why it doesn't matter if you start with going up or going down. Okay, math is still going to make it work out correctly. Right, I want to take a look at your notes here. Right, you don't have any of these yet, so if you'd like to try and pause and figure this out on your own on an extra sheet of paper, you can. Otherwise, you can keep working with me. So in this case, we start here and we're going down 1, so -1, and then we end up going to the right 2. So it is going to be a negative slope, and it is going to be a slope of -1/2. Right, and then here we are going up 1, so this is a +1, and then we're going to the right 2, so a +2. So 2 positives gives us a positive slope of 1/2. Alright, so you'll notice that anytime we have a positive slope, our line goes in this direction, and anytime we have a negative slope, our line goes in this direction. It goes down and to the right, and this one goes up and to the right. Alright, in this case we have a slope of 0. Anytime you have that x equals line, it's going to give you a slope of 0. But this only works for a line that has a y is equals symbol. Anytime you have an x equals, it is considered undefined. Alright, so we're going to find the slope of this line segment. If I start here and I go down 1, 2, I have a -2 for my rise. To the right, 1, 2, 3. So therefore I have a slope of -2/3. I want you to try this next one on your own, and you are going to post this answer to Edmodo. Right, when we're not given the line, we can use the ordered pairs to find our answers. Remember that we said that the rise is the change in y, or the change in the vertical, and the run is the change in the x, or the change in the horizontal. So if we look here, we have the ordered pair 2, 3, and 6, 9. So the change in y would be the 9 minus 3, and the change in x would be 6 minus 2. You always do your second one first, and your first one second. So in this case, 9 minus 3 gave us 6. 6 minus 2 gave us 4. So we have a slope of 3/2. You never want to change this to a mixed number. You only change it if it's improper, if it's going to give you a whole number. Otherwise, it doesn't tell you what the slope is, it just tells you a fraction, and we're not working with fractions here. Right, in this case, we have our negative slope, so we have 0 minus 7 over 4 minus -2. And in this case, we get a -7/6. Again, we don't change it to a mixed number because that doesn't give us a slope, it just gives us a mixed number. Okay, so we're going to find the slope that passes through -3, -4, and -2, 4. And we're going to do this using our new formula. So I have my x and my y's. Okay, this is x1, this is y1, that's your first point, and this is x2 and this is y2, that's your second point. So it's always x2, so -2 minus x1, which is -3, and that goes below your y2, which is 4, minus y1, which is -4. Okay, and a minus a negative is like plus a positive, so this gives us a rise of 8. Again, minus a negative is like plus a positive. -2 plus 3 is going to give us 1, so this would give us a slope of +8. And remember, I can change this because it gives me a whole number for an answer, not a mixed number. Okay, I want you to try this second one on your own and post that answer to Edmodo. Right, so this is your number 1 giving me the slope, and this is your number 2 also giving me the slope, but using the different variations that I've given you. The last thing that we're going to look at is how to graph a line when we're given a point and the slope. Now we'll be working on this in class tomorrow. There will be no Edmodo post for this problem because you can't draw graphs on Edmodo. So in this case, we have to plot a point at our original point, which is 2, -4. So 2, -4. Now my slope is 2, so what helps me is to say 2 can also be changed to 2 over 1. And I know they're both positive because it's a +2. So then what I can do is I can count up 2 and then right 1, plot a point. Up 2 more, to the right 1 more. Now I'm starting to get points that'll create a line, and then I can connect those dots. I can also look at this as -2 over -1, which means I can go down 2 and then to the left 1 to plot another point. And then of course I have to use a straight edge to connect all of my dots. Right, just to review, you are posting your answers to number 1 and number 2 on Edmodo tonight. And if you have any questions, please make sure to write them down or post them so we can go over them in class tomorrow.